How are you doing?
Oh, good. Ava has her heart. It was just time.
Still upright.
It was time.
You and I are going to make a decision. So
That's
we
good.
just have to
We just have to wait. Yep, that's right.
Barbara Sherman said
You know the nice thing of it? I don't remember it, but it's all
I
hearsay.
talked to Jody a couple
Somebody else had happened to.
her niece, and she had the fact that she was at the house the other day. I gave her some of the supplies that my mom used for Barbara, and I said, "Does Barbara get out at all?" And she said,
but I push her quite a bit there in
"Yeah,
Settler Park.
yeah."
I get her back and forth to her room, and she's really a sweet person.
Oh, she is. Mom just thought the world of her for years and years and years.
But she,
Oh man,
but
she was a good person.
her.
Very good person.
I like her. Everybody knows her.
Oh yeah, I know her. And she, she just worked for years. Worked at those class reunions. Every year they had a class reunion. Barbara did about. You sit at those tables too, Rosie. Yeah, that's what I love you. I love you too. Yeah, that's where people will sit is at the tables, and just the overflow. I think they'll just go into Casey. Oh, that's fine. Yeah. That's what we'll do. Right.
How are you doing, kiddo?
I'm fine. How are you? Well, you know, you can't be too sorry. It's just, it's just time. Plain and simple, it was time.
It's just a story everybody's told me.
Okay. Thank you. Good. Yeah, it's fine.
Hi, young fella. Well, it's all hearsay. I don't know anything about it, which is probably a good thing. Don't you? Back to it. I know it.
Gary, how are you? Good to see you. Good to see you. Would you like me to take your hat for you? Jeans is right just outside the other side of the store right here. Okay. Thank you.
Jackie go. Took this jeans, put them in the room. She said, oh, my memory is changing. capital.
So you guys had ashes from me? We do. Having a guy make a turn, caterpillar.
Oh, you couldn't have it for somebody to make when I was for the search for one, so that's unless you can find it. We'll try. Remember if somebody's gonna make one.
Oh, that's awesome.
Right there?
I don't think they're watching it, but hi. How are you?
Was I ever well?
Last time I see, then I see pictures, it looks so good.
I'm better than what I was.
That's good.
See, it's a work in progress.
Still.
It isn't going to happen again, I can tell you that.
You stay away from that.
You can't say that. You can't.
See, for her,
You can't predict me.
she's afraid of my own horses and I want to be around them. I said, I'm not worried about those horses. She's mine, 'cause I trained them. And I know them, they know me. They were just like those.
It's good to see you too, sister.
So nice to be here.
Are we supposed to sign this?
Yes. Yep. So you want to wait just about an hour?
I think, yeah, I think that would work. Oh, you got it. That's nice. Well, because I have to, so. How nice. You know, instead of setting all the frozen chairs.
Looks perfect. I think it's getting nicer right now. Well, it's not snowing like it was.
Oh, that's true.
So, all of a sudden this morning it decided to snow again.
Did it ever?
Looks like my son.
Keep busy for an hour.
He was,
How was the road?
they were good.
Oh, good.
At least that's good.
And what about, did you talk to Jane? Yeah, she doesn't do chemo. Okay, that's fine, that's fine.
Hi.
Thanks for coming. I mean, thanks for, you know. Sit closer. If we went to that, where that down the red is, I think.
Okay.
He said you chair.
Hi. Let's see.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Okay.
Mm.
Did Elaine get a hold of that guy? Craig?
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Oh, did that?
Oh, yeah.
Well, I was surprised. Yeah, well, Craig is a call
Yeah. I'm gonna go let Lori know. I'm gonna go let Lori know.
Good morning. Thank you. Is it on? Is the microphone on? I'm Lori Perry. It's not on? Can you hear me? Okay, now can you hear me? Good morning. I'm Lori Perry, and my family and I had the privilege of living next to Tommy and Evelyn for nearly 20 years. And of course, during that time, that old gal and I had some life-making memories that happened. She helped me raise my children, and she did. Truly was a part of their upbringing. We did yard work together and gardening. We had wars over our yards and our gardening from time to time. She gave advice, solicited or not, on marriage, life, child rearing, you name it, she did it. We went through some things together. When we lost our sweet Tommy, I was there with her, and she went through my divorce with me and the leaving of my children, and then later, the marriage to my husband, Lane, which she approved of. She was a sister, a mother, a grandmother, a great-grandmother, and the neighborhood watch, the life coach, but most of all, she was a friend and a great neighbor. And I'm very honored today to get to pronounce her or recite her eulogy. And I just hope that I do it right, because if not, we know that when we see her again, she's going to give me a good talking to. So without further ado, Evelyn Mary Steele. Evelyn Mary Steele died peacefully in the morning hours of November 26, 2018, with her loving family by her side. She was born in Canada, South Dakota, which is now a ghost town, amazingly, where she lived throughout her youth with her father and German immigrant mother, along with her 4 siblings. They lived through the Great Depression. However, her family was so poor that it didn't affect their lifestyle. The values she developed in the Badlands and Black Hills of South Dakota included frugality, a rock-solid work ethic, and the love of a close-knit family that always helped one another. And you could see it in the way she lived her life. She attended a one-room schoolhouse through the 8th grade, and it was there that she met Thomas R. Steele, who was 1 grade ahead of her. That was a big deal to her in school. And although she resisted his advances at first, she eventually married her little fella, which she kindly called him all the time, on January 27, 1939, after a road trip in a blizzard with her brother Aaron and his wife Emma. After having their first daughter, Marilyn, or as known to many of you, Tootie, in 1940, she and Tommy drew straws to decide if they would stay in South Dakota or follow her older brother, and migrate west. They drew the short straw, loaded up their few possessions, and eventually ended up in Baker City after a short stay in Fruitland, Idaho. Her parents and all but one of her siblings would eventually join them in Northeast Oregon. While her brothers are much more notorious than her in the region, she was always considered the boss of the pack, and if you knew her, you knew Evelyn was the boss. Giving advice on relationships, job, business, risk, lending money when they were in a tight spot, and a good stern talking to when they disappointed her. In 1943, she had her second and most loving daughter, Shirley, and settled into being a homemaker and began her work managing their small income into a fruitful real estate and business investment. She was remarkable at using compound interest in her favor and was very proud of what she had earned over the years. She only held 1 job outside the home, and that was at Rob's Ladies Shop in downtown Baker, but only for a short time. She spent much of her lifetime as a quiet and generous support system behind many of her children and grandchildren's business adventures. She filled her days as the mother and eventually as a beloved grandmother, focusing on the important work of raising her children and her children's children. She collected and tried new recipes regularly for their family dinners every Sunday, which nearly always followed with working to improve her home or their home. She, along with Tommy, grew a fruitful garden, providing much of the family's produce, and maintained an impeccable weed-free yard. She was an accomplished seamstress and made many of her own clothes, as well as teaching her granddaughters the basics of sewing. In 1970, she became an expert at turning regular jeans into bell-bottom jeans with colorful inserts, and then would construct handbags matching quilted fabrics for her granddaughters. And I can remember wearing them. Her guilty pleasure was afternoon soap operas with characters from One Life to Live, General Hospital, and All My Children. In the summers, she usually had 1 grandchild with her, if not more, and would shuttle them to swim lessons, teach them the proper way to keep a yard, of course, how to bake the perfect butter cookie, and provide meals. They all remember many of her catchphrases and the sage advice that with great fondness, as well as having an appreciation for the disciplines she expected of them. Her lifetime spanned an entire century, and I'm always amazed at when people like Evelyn, who got to live this lifetime, from riding horses to school to the dawn of self-driving cars, from living in a sod home with an outhouse to her final ranch-style home that she referred to as elegant. From the time when no one had a home phone to a time when everyone had cell phones with video calling and a camera at their fingertips. This was a technology she loved due to being able to see her picture immediately after being taken and being able to see pictures of family that lived far away. This technology allowed her to share her most recent great-great-granddaughter that she regularly showed the caregivers at Meadowbrook, affectionately calling her a little doll. She came from a time when owning a book of knowledge was a luxury to everyone having the entire world's worth of information readily available on the internet, from a time when diseases like measles and mumps were a death sentence to a time when they have been eradicated. And the list is endless. But even with all the mind-blowing changes going around her, outliving her contemporaries, her siblings, her husband, and even a child, she remained the steadfast girl from South Dakota that was content with all she had and all she had learned in life, a woman that loved one man her entire life, and a woman that was always ready to give all her energy and resources to her family and mine. She has survived with and will be greatly missed by her daughter Shirley and her husband Ken of Baker City, her granddaughter Tracy Bragg and her husband Kelly of Arlington, Washington, Jenny Milich and her husband Derek of Arlington, Washington, Cherie Dubell of Monroe, Washington, Lisa Zeros Vandenboss and her husband Todd of Baker City, Terry Tynan of Wasilla, Alaska, grandson Shane Pierce and his wife Tammy of Baker City, sister-in-law Rosie Logston of Baker City, nieces Patsy Hampton of LeGrand, Elaine Logston of Baker City, Carol Barton and her husband Bob of Baker City, Laura Green of Yuma, Arizona, Jody Logston of Redmond, Oregon, and nephew Norris Logston of Stanfield, Oregon, James Logston of Baker City, and 15 great-grandchildren, 12 great-great-grandchildren, and numerous nieces and nephews. She was preceded in death by her parents, Henry and Dina Logston, her husband of 64 years, Thomas Steele, her daughter, Tootie Carr, brothers Henry Logston, Aaron Logston, and Joe Logston, sister Margaret Paris, grandsons Wayne Logston and Robert Carr, nephew Howard Logston, Stan Paris, and Carrie Logston. Contributions may be made through Coles Memorial to Heart and Home Hospice. Thank you.
Take my hand, lead me on, help me stand. I am tired, I am weak, I am worn. Through the storm, through the night, lead me on to the light. Take my hand, precious Lord, lead me home. When my way grows drear, precious Lord, linger near. When my life is almost gone, hear my cry, hear my call, hold my hand lest I fall, and take my hand, precious Lord, lead me home. Appears and the night draws near and the day is past and gone. At the river I'll stand, guide my feet, hold my hand and take my hand, precious Lord, lead me home. Precious Lord, take my hand, lead me on, help me stand, for I am tired, I am weak, I am worn. Through the storm, through the night, lead me on to the light and take my hand. Precious Lord, lead me home.
Welcome, everyone. We are gathered here to celebrate the life of Evelyn Mary Steele. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Jenny Millich. I am Evelyn's second eldest granddaughter. Marilyn, their eldest daughter, was my mom. To live to be 101 as gracefully as she did is a feat unmet by the majority. She expressed to me many times how she missed Grandpa immensely after he passed away. It gives me great peace to know that she is finally reunited with her little feller. To see the elegant, meticulous, well-dressed, and outspoken woman I grew up with, you would be hard-pressed to believe that she spent her early years on the farm working side by side with her family, tending cows and chickens. She often told me that her dad put a lot on her shoulders, including riding herd on her brothers. She had a can-do attitude about everything she set her mind to. In an era where women were seen and not heard, everything she did with purpose, even down to vacations. Vacations were opportunities to visit family. I don't know that she ever went on a Hawaii vacation or went somewhere just to relax. It's to visit family. I know that she traveled back and forth to South Dakota many times, even going back to visit Marg in her 80s, as far as I know. She came to Washington to visit our family almost every summer, her and Grandpa. And in her mind, a vacation to our house was to get shit done. Let's be real, okay? We had projects. My mom was thrilled when Granny and Grandpa came. All of us kids waited with bated breath, watching for their car to drive up, peeking out the window. And I don't know if this means anything to you, Shirley, but my mom used to say, "Quit gawking out the window. You look like the Langloises," whoever they were. I don't know. They went to Alaska in February, the year Sherry was born. That was the month of the Iditarod sled dog race, so they got to go to the Rendezvous celebration, watch the sled races, snow, and I know my parents absolutely loved it when they would come to visit. Back to the Washington vacations, when we would be getting stuff done, Granny was always leading the charge, supervising. Grandpa was always tinkering with the cars and making sure everything was running. She spoke with Tracy many years later about Alaska, and Granny said she could never live in Alaska. The trees were just too small, and she definitely needed her trees. As Lori mentioned, there was Sherry, Tracy, and I used to spend a couple weeks in the summertime at Granny and Grandpa's house every summer. Granny tried to teach us to sew. Me being the tomboy, I never did learn to sew. She also tried to teach me the finer points of, wardrobe selection and manicured nails. That didn't happen either. I always said that if Lisa lived closer to me, she would be my personal shopper. We loved our time at the river, taking drives in Grandpa's Scout, swimming lessons at Radium Hot Springs. I specifically loved the time they came to watch one of my horse shows in Walla Walla. Some of the things about Granny that make me chuckle, I call them Grannyisms. You guys will all know these. Some of them include, for cat's sake, Katie, bar the door. 40-0. I'm going to slip a slap out of you. Just think how good you'll feel when you get that done. And she was very blunt and to the point, but we love that about her. Jenny, you're getting kind of fat. You better push back from the table. I don't think, I know that my sisters have heard the same thing. Terry, my youngest sister, texted me and she said, Granny used to get on her about biting her nails. But she did say, well, you know, at one point she did say, Terry, you have beautiful straight legs. Straight legs. It's funny how a compliment from Granny will stick with you. She always used to tell me, too, when the subject would come up, Jenny, you were kind of an ugly little baby when you were born. That is the truth. I've seen pictures, and as evidenced by some of my early elementary school pictures. Other things you may not know about Granny, she had a fur-lined toilet seat to keep your butt warm. She was a hitman on squirrels, which Lori can probably attest to that. And she recorded her kills on a calendar each year. And she did get the best of them for many years. I assume she had her grandsons and son-in-law expose of the bodies. She prided herself in looking her best and loved the fact that she looked many years younger than the ladies her age. One chuckle specifically I get, when we used to visit in the summertime, and she used to say, God damn it, Tommy, I'm going to slip a slap out of you. And it's usually because he had taken a nip out of the whiskey bottle under the kitchen sink. Anyway, she's going to be sorely missed. I want to thank my Baker family. I can get through this last paragraph, for taking such good care of her. Especially my Aunt Shirley. I know it was a lot, in the last. Thank you.
On a hill far away stood an old rugged cross, the emblem of suffering and shame. And I love that old cross where the dearest and best for a world of lost sinners was slain. So I'll cherish the old rugged cross till my trophies at last I lay down. I will cling to the old rugged cross and exchange it someday for a crown. To the old rugged cross I will ever be true. Its shame and reproach gladly bear. Then he'll call me someday to my home far away, where his glory forever I'll share. So I'll cherish the old rugged cross till my trophies at last I lay down. I will cling to the old rugged
I probably don't need to speak or I'm kind of loud anyway. But the things I remember, actually, I could have probably told you if her name was Evelyn. It was Granny. Okay? And we moved here in like 59. My parents bought a ranch in this valley. And so I started school when I was a junior. And I met Shirley at that time, but I didn't know Granny until later years when Shane and Tammy, my daughter, got married. And then I run into Granny at festivities, okay, like Thanksgiving. I think we even ate at restaurants on Mother's Day. But I'll sit here and tell you that every time I saw Granny, I walked away totally impressed because she was a class act, okay? She was always looked great, and when they told me, I didn't really get to know her until she's going into her 90s, you know, and they told me that she was that age, I couldn't hardly believe it, you know, sharp as a tack. And when I visit with her at the festivities, she would tell me how she was pulling weeds and different things at home and all the things she was doing and how independent she was. And I could see right off the bat, you know, here is a super lady, you know. She is a hard worker. She likes to have things nice and neat, you know. And I would walk away thinking, my God, I don't think I was minded if I lived to be 100. Okay? It was inspirational. It was totally inspirational to be around her. But then I started thinking about it, you know? I started thinking, you know, what do they say? A chip don't fall far from the block, okay? And actually, I started thinking about it. And, you know, yeah, I'm going to miss Granny at the festivities. However, a little piece of Granny is in every one of you, okay? And so we still have that. For example, the granddaughter I've never met, you could tell it with her up here, good looking and whatnot, and it was obvious, you know. And of course, Granny came out of a good strain, you know. I came here in 59, which was the Oregon Centennial. That's when Oregon was 100 years old, okay? And I'm 16 years old, and I go to a rodeo. And I think he won it, but one of the bulldoggers was Joe Logston. And so Granny came from a tough string, okay? And then I go to school, and one of the most popular girls in my high school was Shirley, you know. And then, I mean, you could just see it in every one of them, you know, a piece of Granny. And then my daughter married Shane about 15 years ago, and you couldn't ask for a better son-in-law. I mean, he's neat, everything he has looks great, you know. How many guys take and have a used four-wheeler and replace the plastic on it because it just doesn't look just right? And you take Lisa, you know, what a go-ahead lady, you know, had total adversity at one time and comes back and finds the love of her life and raises 2 boys and works her butt off, you know. And then Wayne, I never ever met anyone that didn't like Cowboy Wayne. You know what I mean? He was a charmer, and I used to pack him deer meat when he didn't get an animal. You know, I mean, everyone loved Wayne, okay? And I just can't say enough about the offsprings. And, you know, as far as the Logstons, a great family. I think, I'm just talking impromptu, but the truth is, I just think that we are so fortunate that Tommy and Evelyn drew the right straw to come to Baker and live in a community like we have here, who, you know, I go away and I lost my daughter here a couple months ago. And I was pleased that I raised her in a community where we had such a family. You know what I mean? And, you know, you're just a great family. And I see this chip of grandma clear down into my granddaughter here, because she's out and she's competitive and she's fast. She's a good basketball player. And anyway, just thanks for letting me say a few. This guy over here, I remember being at Kevin, I remember being at a football game. He's got a broken finger and all wrapped up, and he's making touchdowns, okay? So whatever Grandma had that stepped out, each one of you have a little piece of her in you, okay? So we still have her.
My name is Rosie Logston. After we lost Evelyn's brother and my husband Joe, she still liked me to go over there and talk to her all the time. And we got pretty close. And she said to me one time, "We need to get cemetery plots next to each other so we can still talk."
I have 1,000 stories I could tell on Evelyn living next to her all those years. This morning I texted my children and said, tell me at least one good story that you want to share. And Cole, my youngest, who was so close to Tommy, he would get up in the morning in the summer times and, "I'm going to go see what Grandpa Tommy's doing today and see if that'll let him come out and play." They were always tinkering. But so Cole texted me this morning and said,
he said, make sure you tell the story about how when she hired us to mow the lawn, that she would sit in her lawn chair out in the backyard on her back porch and watch us as we mowed the lawn to make sure we didn't get in her garden and that we didn't mess up her rose bushes. And she even did that to Tommy. When he would mow the lawn, she would sit in her lawn chair and make sure that everybody did it right. And Jenny, I have to tell you, one of the last times before she went to the facility, I saw her in my yard. We were getting our house ready to sell. And she told me, "Putting on a few pounds there, Laura, you better push back from the table."
Folks, if anyone would like to, anyone else wants to share, that's great. I'm going to bring the mic to you though, because we are live streaming and I can't pick up anybody on the video.
I'm Todd, I'm married to Lisa, and I didn't get to meet Granny until she was 86 years old, so I got to know her on the back half of her life, I guess. And we used to go over and visit with her, and she'd always be working in the yard, pulling weeds and complaining about the neighbors not taking care of their yard. And the other neighbor on the opposite side, yeah. And it's just kind of became a habit over the years when she was at home, and then even when she moved into the assisted living, that, you know, we'd tell her we were going to go do something. Would you like to go? Oh, no, I don't, you know, not really up to it and stuff. And I'm like, well, we're going to go to Dairy Queen and get some ice cream. Well, then she'd get her coat and away we'd go to get ice cream, you know. But, yeah, we would spend time with her at the Settlers Park, and Lisa was always trying, or Meadowbrook, I'm sorry, and get her outside to walk for exercise. And the one day she was using her walker, and we were walking around outside, and I was teasing her, and I said, I always teased her, and I go, you want to go uptown and get some beer and cigarettes? And she goes, yeah. And I go, what's your brand? Lucky, she said. So, so then Lisa was asking you about, did Granny smoke? Because that was come off her tongue too easy. And back in the day, I guess they all smoked, but according to Granny, she never drank or ever smoked, ever. So, yeah.
Well, I remember that my Aunt Evelyn made the best divinity. At Christmas time, you'd go to her house, she would have different colored divinity, different flavored divinity, nut divinity, and without nuts. It was wonderful. And that's what I remember. She'd completely cover that kitchen counter in the house over on College Street. Yeah.
So when I used to spend summers at Granny's house, Lisa and I would often hang out together, race to the mailbox. One day we were sitting out along the road, and today girls have phones for selfies, right? But we were sitting out, I think we must have been maybe 11 or 12. We were sitting out by the road posing, let's just say. Granny comes out the front porch and she's like, you girls get in here. What do you think, you're free for the picking?
Well, if that's everyone, I think we're going to watch a video for a little bit here.
Many years ago, in days of childhood, I used to play till evening shadows come, then winding down an old familiar pathway, I heard my mother call at set of sun. Come home, it's supper time. The shadows lengthen fast. Come home, it's supper time. We're going home at last. In visions now, I see her standing yonder. Her familiar voice I hear once more. She said the banquet table's ready up in heaven. It's supper time upon the golden shore. Come home, it's supper time. The shadows lengthen fast. Come home, it's supper time. We're going home at last. Child, you're going home at last. Mr. Sandman, bring me a dream. Make him the cutest that I've ever seen. Give him two lips like roses and clover. Then tell him that his lonesome nights are over. Sandman, I'm so alone. Don't have nobody to call my own. Please turn on your magic beam. Mr. Sandman, bring me a dream. Mr. Sandman, bring me a dream. Make him the cutest that I've ever seen. Give him the word that I'm not a rover. Then tell him that his lonesome nights are over. Sandman, I'm so alone. Don't have nobody to call my own. Please turn on your magic beam. Mr. Sandman, bring me a dream. Mr. Sandman,
Yes?
bring us a dream. Give him a pair of eyes with a come hither gleam. Give him a lonely heart like Pagliacci, and lots of wavy hair like Liberace. Mr. Sandman, someone to hold, would be so peachy before we're too old. So please turn on your magic beam. Mr. Sandman, bring us, please, 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 Mr. Sandman, bring us a dream.
It started long ago in the Garden of Eden when Adam said to Eve, baby, you're for me. So come on, baby, let's start today. Come on, baby, let's play the game of love, love, la 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 love. Come on, baby, 'cause time is right. Love your daddy with all your might. Put your arms around me, hold me tight. Play the game of love. The purpose of a man is to love a woman, and the purpose of a woman is to love a man. So come on, baby, let's start today. Come on, baby, let's play the game of love, 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 la 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 love. Yeah, oh yeah. Well, come on, baby, 'cause the time is right. Love your daddy with all your might. Put your arms around me, hold me tight. Play the game of love. The purpose of a man is to love a woman, and the purpose of a woman is to love a man. So come on, baby, let's start today. Come on, baby, let's play the game of love, 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 la 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 love. The game of love, baby. The game of love, la 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 la. The game of love, baby. The game of love, la 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 la. The game of love, baby.
Old tin roof, leaves in the gutter, hole in the screen door big as your fist, and flies on the butter. Mama baking sugar cookies, we were watching cartoons. I heard her holler from the kitchen, which one of you young'uns wants to lick the spoon? Yellow jackets on the watermelon, a honeysuckle in the air, Daddy turning on the sprinkler, us kids running through it in our underwear. Old dog napping on the front porch, his hair just a twitching. I fell asleep on Granddaddy's lap to the sound of his pocket watch a ticking. Whoa, whoa. Doesn't seem like it was all that long ago. Whoa, whoa. You can dream about it every now and then, but you can't go home again. Yeah, my best friend Jenny set up a backyard can, stole one of Mama's mason jars, poked holes in the lid and made a firefly lamp. Me and Betty Monroe are sneaking down by the river, and I'm still haunted by the taste of the kiss I was too scared to give him. Whoa, whoa. Doesn't seem like it was all that long ago. Whoa, whoa. You can dream about it every now and then, but you can't go home again. There's a blacktop road, a faded yellow center line. It can take you back to the place, but it can't take you back in time. Whoa, whoa. It doesn't seem like it was all that long ago. You can dream about it every now and then, but you can't go home again. Old tin roof, leaves in the gutter, a hole in the screen door big as your fist, and flies on the butter.
We were born in this little town. Growing up, I was counting down every single day till we made our getaway. But you said you could never see yourself trying to make a life anywhere else. This would be your home, and I was on my own. But ever since you said goodbye, I've been out here on the wind, and baby, you would be surprised at all the places you have been. I've seen you in Albuquerque, waiting out a blizzard, Arizona, dancing across the desert, watching the sunset in Monterey. Girl, I swear, just the other day you were down in Georgia, picking down peaches, in Carolina, barefoot on the beaches. No matter where you choose to be, in my heart I'll always see you everywhere. Nowadays, when I'm passing through, the conversation always turns to you. And I hear you're doing fine, living out by the county line. Got a man that's home every night, a couple of kids, and the kind of life that you wanna lead. Guess you could say the same for me. But you and I made our choices all those years ago. Still I know I'll hear your voice and see you down the road. Maybe in Oklahoma, driving across the prairie. Texas, isn't that where we always said we would like to try? Never did, so maybe that's why you're on every highway, just beyond the high plains, right beside me and all of my sweet dreams. No matter where you choose to be, in my heart I'll always see you in Albuquerque, waiting out a blizzard, in Arizona, dancing across the desert, watching the sunset in Monterey. Girl, I swear, just the other day you were down in Georgia, picking down peaches, in Carolina, barefoot on the beaches. No matter where you choose to be, in my heart I'll always see you everywhere. Oh, oh,
I turned on the evening news, saw an old man being interviewed, turning 102 today. They asked him what's the secret to life. He looked up from his old pipe, laughed and said, all I can say is, don't blink, Just like that, you're 6 years old and you take a nap and you wake up and you're 25. Then your high school sweetheart becomes your wife. Don't blink, you just might miss your babies growing like mine did, turning into moms and dads. Next thing you know, you better have a 50 years as they're in bed, and you pray and God takes you instead. Trust me, friend, 100 years goes faster than you think, so don't blink. Well, I was glued to my TV when it looked like you looked at me and said, best start putting first things first. 'Cause when your hourglass runs out of sand, you can't flip it over and start again. Take every breath God gives you for what it's worth. Don't blink, just like that, you're 6 years old and you take a nap and you wake up and you're 25. Then your high school sweetheart becomes your wife. Don't blink, you just might miss your babies growing like mine did, turning into moms and dads. Next thing you know, you better have a 50 years as they're in bed, and you pray and God takes you instead. Trust me, friend, 100 years goes faster than you think, so don't blink. So I've been trying to slow it down, I've been trying to take it in this here today, gone tomorrow world we're living in. So don't blink, just like that, you're 6 years old and you take a nap and you wake up and you're 25. Then your high school sweetheart becomes your wife. Don't blink, you just might miss your babies growing like mine did, turning into moms and dads. Next thing you know, you better have a 50 years as they're in bed, and you pray and God takes you instead. Trust me, friend, 100 years goes faster than you think, so don't blink. No, don't blink. Don't blink. Life goes faster than you think, so don't blink. Life goes faster than you think, don't blink. Don't blink. Life goes faster than you think.
Some bright morning when this life is over, I'll fly away to that home on God's celestial shore. I'll fly away. I'll fly away, oh glory. I'll fly away. When I die, hallelujah, by and by, I'll fly away. When the shadows of this life have gone, I'll land where joy will never end. I'll fly away one more time. I'll fly away, oh glory. I'll fly away. When I die, hallelujah, by and by, I'll fly away. When I die, hallelujah, by and by, I'll fly away.
Sorry, I can't talk too loud. This will conclude the services. Everybody's invited for a meal. Troy's gonna open the curtains there, and it's kind of set up in a horseshoe. And there's plates, everything's there. There's coffee, tea, wine, and beer in there. So help yourselves. Don't be bashful at all. Again, this will conclude the services at this point.
I would guess that way. Okay. That way and hang a right.
All right. This way, hang right. Thanks.
Is there a way, can we